Hi, welcome. It's Drew from Good to Bad Fanboy Store on eBay. This is my video for Adam Day's 100 subscribers competition. That's why I say congratulations on getting to 100 subscribers. I was actually shocked that he won at like 1,000 by now. Your videos always seem so well put together and you seem so comfortable on camera. I would have thought you'd been doing it longer. Anyway, your 3 questions I need to answer. Let me see, I wrote them down. I got a really bad memory at times for things like that, so that's why I don't do as many shout outs as I should do on my channel. Is I'm always know I'm going to blank on someone's name or forget some people. Reason for that being I have suffered some brain damage in my lifetime, so my memory's a bit crap, especially if I'm tired. You know, my memory just goes out the window. First up, let me see. Yeah, on my phone. Why did I decide to post on YouTube? The reason I decided to post on YouTube, to begin with, was I had my store on eBay. I had started, I don't know when it was started actually, I don't, 6, 8 months, I don't know, something like that. It's not been a year yet, I don't think. It's been doing quite well. Been doing quite good, a lot of sales. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback, primarily because I usually say a comic's a grade below what I believe it to be, so because there's so much, you know, some people describe things one way or the other type thing, so I prefer to go less on it and also sell it for less than what the market value is. Keeps people happy. Also, I probably have the cheapest postage I can put up, so I can't afford to do 3 postage at the moment because it's gone through the Royal Mail. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. What I posted was, I was initially going to do it was going to be basically adverts for my store. I'd seen lots of videos, Captain Strangelove, manga comics, Mercenaut, all those types of people. They're basically the cornerstones of the community. I'm a massive fan of them, and I really got into the way they talk about their comics and stuff. And I was initially going to do it about the ones I had in my store, but I had very little confidence in front of the camera. I used to be quite a very confident person, but I'm not at the moment. But the more I watched, the more I kind of got into it and decided just to do, you know, for every one I might do of the shop, I will probably do about 5 or 6 about my own collection, what I've been up to. And it's quite good, because I used to have a blog. I used to have quite a lot of, I guess you call them followers, people would read my blog basically. But I lost interest in it after some hassle I had online basically. And this is just another way for me to kind of, I guess, talk about stuff I'm thinking about and interested in, get out there, stop storing up here basically. So yeah, it was just a way for me to talk about what stuff I've been buying, movies I've been watching, stuff like that. And to join a community of like-minded people. There's not many people where I stay that are the comic book fans. Well, not in the little town I'm in right now, Pennycook. I live about 40 minutes in the bus away from Edinburgh. There's quite a big comic book community in Edinburgh, but I don't really know anyone in it. So this was a way for me to put myself out there to meet like-minded people basically. Number 2 question, other passions. Movies is a big one for me. I love movies. I've written multiple screenplays, not that I've been made, but written multiple screenplays since I was probably at the age of 12. I started off doing short stories and stuff like a lot of people, and then I moved on to writing plays and screenplays and things like that. But movies, I've loved movies. At one point I had over 1,000 DVDs in my collection. I halved it just because it was getting too unmanageable, and we were moving, me and my wife were moving our stuff into storage so we could move back in with my parents to save money for our wedding, which I heartily recommend doing. Move back in with your parents with your fiance. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm probably down to about 400 and odd, 500 DVDs, and I've got maybe about 30 Blu-rays, something like that at the moment. Not been buying as many movies and stuff recently, but it's still a big passion of mine. I watch a lot of stuff. I've got on-demand TV, so I watch a lot of Sky movies, stuff like that. It's where I catch up on most. It's sad to say I've not actually seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet. Only person on the planet. Yep. In fact, I just saw last week Winter Soldier, and I'm a Marvel zombie, and I just saw Winter Soldier. I got it on Blu-ray. It was a present from my wife. As I said in my last video, I wasn't doing too good last week health-wise, so I got Winter Soldier on Blu-ray and Rocket Raccoon #2 comic. Best wife in the world. So movies are a big thing for me. I've been loving all the Marvel movies. I do like the DC ones as well. Not Man of Steel or Dark Knight Rises. Weren't my cup of tea either of them. I thought Man of Steel was a bit too dour for a Superman movie, and that's saying something coming from a Scotsman, saying something's too dour. I think Henry Cavill was a good Superman though. I think a lot of people have criticisms for that movie, criticise him, but I think my criticisms are in the screenplay, personally, and the direction. Another passion of mine is martial arts. I'm a big MMA fan. UFC, Bellator, Dream, pretty much any promotion. Not so much Bama. I think it's got some great fighters on it, but it's very badly managed. It's not always the best guys that get to the top in that organisation. A lot of that's politics. Been into martial arts for years and years. I have a punch bag in my garage that I take my annoyances out on while wearing my MMA gloves. So yeah, that's two big passions of mine: martial arts and movies. I don't know if one of them would be my second. If comics is my first at the moment, I'm one of those people that's when they get into something, they get insanely into something, and it kind of overshadows everything, and then I might get into something else and it will overshadow everything, but I'll still be into the other things at the same time. I'm quite eclectic and a bit of an oddball, really. I would probably say at the moment comics is my number one. I'd maybe actually say writing might be my number two, which might throw some people because they would probably presume writing is my number one if they know me. Because I spent quite a large part of my life trying to make it as a career. I was the head writer on a web series, an American web series, which never Google. It's this was a show that made Doctor Who in the 60s look like it had a massive budget. You know, this thing had paper mache sets and everything. But I was paid quite a lot of money to write them some episodes. I think it was 12 episodes out of the 14 they made, which was quite good. I've written a memoir type thing that's published on Amazon, and at a website called Smashwords, which it's a helpful hint if you're a writer that's gone this self-publishing route. Don't use Smashwords, this is a crock of shit. Half the time they don't even tell you when you've made sales, so they don't have to give you your money. You have to keep a really, strong eye on it and all the shit. That's my dog barking, if you can hear that. Mental dog. The third question we'll get to. It's went 11 minutes already, and this was going to be a 4-minute video. My biggest regret when it comes to comics. My biggest regret is I was a comic book collector when I was a kid. 4 or 5 I started. Can't remember what year. I think it was 86. Anyway, I had from there till from the 85, 86 to about 99 a regular buying comic book collection. So if you can think of all the Spider-Mans that came during that period of time, Hulks, X-Men, Silver Sable #1s, Spawn #1, whole host of good things. And pretty much most #1s that came out in the early 90s I probably bought, early mid 90s I probably bought. Had a big Daredevil collection, Frank Miller Daredevils. In fact, the first comics I ever got, it was for a birthday. I was taken to the local newsagent. Now the local newsagents to us always had racks and racks of comics, which you don't see now. It's always those ones that are kind of repackaged, like 3 stories in one, and they're aimed at like 8-year-olds type thing. But back then it was the proper American comics, Marvel, DC. There wasn't really any indies. You had, along with Marvel, DC, you had some of the British stuff, the Dandy, the Beano, Beezer, what else? Roy Rovers, Dan Bear stuff, showing my age, the Viz, and 2000 AD, which I wasn't allowed, or the Viz for that matter, I wasn't allowed when I was younger. But the first lot of comics I picked up were, let me see, it's on my phone, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1276, which is a very nice issue, wish I still had. My problem was when I was collecting as a very young child, between between 4 and 6, whatever, when I started, and probably about 13, it was a case of read it a bunch of times. It would get mashed up and stuff, and I'd leave them sitting in the corner of my room. My mum would bin them. Yeah, my mum binned Amazing Spider-Man 276, which is now what, a £5 comic. I had Incredible Hulk 319, which was a wedding issue. I remember being very weird that my mum was probably concerned that I picked a wedding issue up as a child. Is one that looked interesting, but the real reason behind it was at that period in time I was watching reruns of the Incredible Hulk TV show, which I loved. I was a massive Lou Ferrigno fan as the Hulk. He is the Hulk to me when I was a child, you know what I mean? So I picked that up. I had Daredevil 230, which was a good issue. Batman 385, Superman 419, and I remember probably my mum being weirded out slightly, maybe just slightly, by the fact I picked up a Legend of Wonder Woman #1. The reason for that was they were still showing reruns of the Wonder Woman TV show, and I watched that as well because I liked anything to do with superheroes as a kid. I used to watch the reruns of the Spider-Man live action show, which was shit. You know, he was swinging on that same metal pole every time he jumped off any building. It was the same pole bit he was swinging on. It was all stock footage, and he was going up pavements. Remember that? Has anyone out there ever seen that? It was me, the hallucinator. So, yeah. So my biggest regret is the collection I amassed from when I was a Wayne or kid up until I was 18, 19, something like that. I wasn't really collecting as much after I got to about 15. I was just buying the odd thing, mostly Judge Dreads and Punishers and stuff like that. I don't have any of them, and there was probably a good something probably close to 800 comics that were all binned. Didn't even sell any of them, they were all just probably binned to make room for other stuff. Probably the time my VHS collection, and then the start of my DVD collection. That's my biggest regret when it comes to comics. Second biggest regret, which I know wasn't a question, but I've went so long I might as well say it anyway, was not jumping back into comics sooner. I've only been collecting again for the last year. I think I went to last year. It was either a year or 2 years. It was either last year's Comic Con in Glasgow or the one the year before. And I bought a shit ton of comics at it. Some of them were independent comics, which was really cool. A Scottish comic called Fat Man and Ribbon, which is hilarious if you can get your hands on it. Which I have issue 1 and issue 0 of, signed by the artist and writer, which is pretty cool. I'm also friends with him on Facebook, which is also pretty cool. And from then I've just been collecting. I don't have a massive personal collection. I have a big shop collection. It's been 600 or whatever in the last year for the shop. 600, 700. I have 2 shop boxes is my collection. I'm not a big buy key issue person. I'm a big buy something that interests me type buyer. I've got nothing against people that buy key issues. I think that's great. If that's your thing, that's awesome. For me, it's just a case of I buy a comic I want to read. If I like it, I keep it. If I don't like it, I'll probably sell it in the shop. Which, if you buy the packs of 3 comics, if you're in the UK from Forbidden Planet, you can sometimes luck out, like in one of my previous videos. I showed the ones I got, including Sullen Bastards #1 in it. So I sometimes do that, and you'll see comics up on my store that are going for, fuck all, just because I've had them in a pack of 3 for £1, and I feel guilty about selling them for cover price when I didn't pay cover price for them, which I know is stupid because that's not how business is run, but whatever. It's just the way I feel. So anyway, I've rattled on again. Every time these seem to go a bit longer, which I don't know what the hell's going on, but whatever. I just want to say congrats again for getting to the 100 subs. Still can't believe that you're not at like 1,000 or 1,500 or something. You seem like you should be. So yeah, that was my contest video. Sorry it was so long. Christ, it's almost 20 minutes. Sorry it was so long. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching, and bye.